What's up everyone? Team Rival here. Once again, the final week of summer. I really don't want to go back to school at all. I really hate school. But I hope you guys all enjoyed my Catherine review. Thanks to Erickson once again for helping me out with that. We will be working on another review that'll coming out in the next week or two. Probably sooner than later, I think, on a game that kind of sparked this whole topic I'm about to talk about. It is Shadows of the Damned. Great game, I said. I'm reviewing it, of course. I'm not going to really talk about the game at all, really. But while playing this game, I know it's not a survival horror sort of game, but it kind of got me thinking about stuff. What the hell happened to the survival horror genre? It's not really survival and it's not really horror anymore. You know, you give someone 750 bullets and an M16 assault rifle, aka Resident Evil 5, you know, it's not too hard to survive, and then it's not really horrific if you can survive really easily with really overpowered weapons. Now, I know a shit ton about survival horror. You know, some of my favorite genres, survival horror is in the top 3, along with like fighting games and RPGs pretty much. Survival horror is really up there. I own Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil the Remake, 2 on Dreamcast, 3, Code Veronica on PlayStation 2, Resident Evil 4, 5, Outbreak, the first Outbreak, and the 2 Chronicles games on Wii. I'm also a huge aficionado on Silent Hill. It is by far my favorite survival horror series. 1 and 2 are the pinnacle of the series. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot beat 1 and 2. 3 was pretty good. 4, eh. Silent Hill Origins, eh. Homecoming sucked, in my opinion. It was, you know, the exact same problem I just outlined, where it's not really survival and it's not really horror when they give you a shit ton of ammo. And then, of course, I have, you know, the random stack of games. Dead Rising 1 and 2, Deadly Premonition, Obscure the Aftermath, Cursed Mountain, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. That's a great survival horror game. That's, you know, that's how you make them. That's a great game. Clock Tower 3, you've been with me since day 1, and I literally mean almost day 1 when I had my first channel. You will ever so fondly remember, as I do as well, not really, my Clock Tower 3 Let's Play, which I did complete. Don't even look for it, though. It is terrible. It's not even worth watching. But, anyways, first 2 Fatal Frame games I played 4 as well, and 3 I just never picked up, but I've seen it around. I think I you know, played it as at a friend's house for a little. You know, not that that counts for anything, but I do know it exists, obviously. Haunting Ground, Rule of Rose, and Siren. So what's the problem with survival horror games? You know, I've also played a lot of games on my computer as well. I wanted to mention, you know, Amnesia, The Dark Descent. I played Dead Space on my computer. I played, what else did I play? Phantasmagoria, you know, games like that. I played a lot. So I do know my stuff on survival horror, and I know what it takes to make a good survival horror game, I'd like to think. So nowadays, you know, I think the problem is that, you know, everyone thinks we want adrenaline, we want rush, we want quick, fast-paced, fast movie. No games are really slow-paced nowadays, and that's what survival horror is. Survival horror is never really fast-paced, in my opinion. You know, when you look at games like even Final Fantasy 13, the battle system was just adrenaline, go, you know, it wasn't like just do-do-do-do, you know, it was like selecting all the commands individually. You were just like sitting everything up, and it was just going wild. Call it shooters, of course, very high adrenaline. Pretty much any game you pick up nowadays is very, you know, it's high adrenaline, high intensity, let's go. And I think that's because people are trying to cater more to the Western market, because, you know, of course, the Western people, they don't have patience because we're a bunch of idiot Americans, and we want fast. Well, not me. That's not how you do this sort of genre, in my opinion. Take Homecoming, for example, Silent Hill Homecoming. That game is terrible. I don't care what anyone says, it is awful. It gives you way too much ammo, way too many enemies, and it's not scary. Take what I consider the pinnacle of survival horror games, Silent Hill 1 and 2. These games are about atmosphere. That's what survival horror is about. It's not about jump scares. I like Dead Space, don't get me wrong, I think it's a great series, and it does well to use the atmosphere to sort of build up the tension, but it's essentially just jump scares. That's all it is. You know, my heart will skip 2 beats, and then I'll kill the monster, and I'll be like, oh, well, that's the end of that. It doesn't really mess with your head that much, because you know, monsters are going to attack. It's not like one of those games where it's like scary stuff moving all around, and you know, just the atmosphere freaks you out. It builds the tension, but it's not, you know, that's not a true survival horror game, in my opinion. These are true survival horror games, in my opinion. These games, especially this one, scared the living daylights out of me when I played them. It was just, you're in Silent Hill, it's dark, it's foggy, you can't see anything, you're hearing footsteps, you're hearing a whole bunch of different noises, things falling down, stuff is rolling across the floor, things are moving, you'll go in the room, and then you'll go back in the room, you'll exit and then come back, and things will be completely rearranged. That's scary, because it doesn't rely on monsters. Monsters don't really scare me anymore. I'm 21 years old. Jump scares, they make my heart, stop for a second. But I, regain my composure and just kill the monster anyway. In these games, I was just like, oh my god, what the hell? Like, especially I played them with headphones on, because that's what I think really the best way to play a survival horror game is at night with headphones on. If you're a real man, you know what I'm talking about, because it will scare the crap out of you. Dude, that game Amnesia on the computer, playing that with headphones, oh my god, that's also a great survival horror game, I'd like to think. But you can't make these games action-oriented. It just doesn't work. If anything, you don't give them a lot of ammo, and, you make it more puzzles. The game should be more about puzzles than anything else, I quite honestly think. Which, the Resident Evil games, the first four, technically, if you count Code Veronica, even though it's not Resident Evil 4, there already is a Resident Evil 4. How does that even work out? I don't know, but whatever. Should be Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, and now we're on Resident Evil 7. I'll just stop right there. But those games, they were puzzle-oriented, you had to backtrack, go back and forth, go here, go there, I have a key now, I can go open this door. That's how it works. And another thing, I don't know how many people are going to agree with me on this one, but in terms of Resident Evil, the fixed camera angles, while they were annoying at some times, especially when you were fighting, the hunters and stuff like that, where it could just automatically fuck you up, especially if you're playing on one of the harder difficulties, or, something of that nature. But the fixed camera angles really allowed the developers to kind of mess with your mind a little bit. Because, you'll be walking down a hallway, and the camera angle will be changing and whatnot, and you'll turn a corner, and then it'll change, and then, something will be right there. And you're like, oh, shit, Not really a jump scare, I'd say, but, it definitely made my heart, pound in my chest a little bit more. Those games are good, because they didn't really rely on giving you so much ammo. A survival horror game should never be an overabundance of ammo. And even sometimes they shouldn't even have ammo at all. In case of Silent Hill Shattered Memories, I think that was the one it was called. It came out on Wii on PS2. You didn't have ammo. You had to run from the monsters, which it did get a little bit repetitive. But I think they were going for the right idea for a survival horror game, because a lot of these people that get in these games, the characters, they don't have weapons. And in terms of this, yeah, Resident Evil characters are like trained police force. But in Silent Hill, pretty much every single character doesn't, they're not trained to use an M16 assault rifle and just rip through everything. These characters, they're just regular people. That's because, with the characters, they're trying to get it to relate to the person. You're not going to give them, Rambo as the main character, and he's going to have, be shooting torque bows and that kind of shit at zombies. That's not how you make a survival horror game. Even games like Fear. Oh, Fear, that's just jump scares, that's all it is, and not scary in my opinion. And there really aren't too many survival horror games aside from Fear, really, and Dead Space. There's some that come out, but they're really not that good, usually. And it's just, why don't we go back to these days? What's wrong with these days? These days were great. Silent Hill, the first 3, great games. Resident Evil, up to... 4 is a great game, don't get me wrong, but it is not scary. It is a straight-up action game, in my opinion. So even up to Code Veronica, those were great Resident Evil games. Can we get more games like that? I mean, I don't know what's going on with Revelations on the 3DS, Resident Evil Revelations. It looks like it could be cool, but I don't know if they're going to really try to make it that scary. We will see, once I get a 3DS and the game comes out later on. I think they're going to announce Resident Evil 6 soon. I don't know what the hell their plan is. I don't know. At this point, did you ever expect the Resident Evil series to end up like 5 did? I don't think so. I think, me personally, I really enjoyed Resident Evil Outbreak, especially if you played it online. Yes, loading times were terrible, but it was so much fun playing with other people and just, going around doing random things and trying to make sure everyone gets out, and if you die, you end up being a zombie and you can eat the other people. This Raccoon City what was it, Resident Evil Raccoon City Operations or whatever it is. That game looks so stupid, in my opinion. That is not what Resident Evil is. It takes place in Resident Evil 2. There's not, this squad of people just running through, machine gunning everyone, and there's like 80,000 zombies all over the place. No, that's not what Resident Evil 2 was. They didn't need to make it a Resident Evil game. They could have called it, ooh, Scary Monsters or something like that, and the game would have been just as successful as, it was. But of course they got to put the Resident Evil title on there so they can make a quick buck on, pissing off the Resident Evil fans when they pick up the game expecting a Resident Evil game, and they don't get it. I think survival horror is a dying genre. It really is, in my opinion. People just want action nowadays. Like I said, why can't we just go back to these days? These are great days. I mean, the Dead Rising series is great, but it's not scary at all. They overwhelm you with zombies sometimes, so it's not really nerve-wracking, but it's just kind of like, if a zombie apocalypse happened, that's how it would go pretty much, I think. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much my thoughts on the subject. I think I kind of gave my viewpoint on it pretty well. I would like to hear what you guys have to say. I always do, of course, but, comment, video responses. If anyone is a big fan of survival horror that I am, make a video response. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And look out for the Shadows of the Damned review. That is coming very soon. And I'm also going to do a review on 1 or 2 animes. I haven't done an anime review in a while. I haven't really been watching too much anime lately. I don't know, I just don't feel like watching anime during the day. And at night, when I'm tired, I'll put on anime or something and I'll end up just falling asleep. So I'll have to rewatch the episode, so what's the point? But I do have 1 or 2 animes I have been watching, and I think are fucking awesome. So watch out for those, and I will see you guys later. Take it easy.